Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, a special look at the port of Mobile. Also, the V-Team takes a look at a Republican food fight. And Alabama's leadership remains silent in the face of a deadly massacre.
You fly back to school now, little Starling. Fly, fly, fly. Fly, fly, fly.
Their silence after the slaughter is deafening. All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. Welcome to The Voice of Alabama Politics, where we tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and as always, I'm joined by the V-Team. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Can I just say real quick, personal privilege moment, that it was so great seeing all of the feedback that we got from our 300th show. People like Jewel that sent us emails.
Yes, thank you, Jewel.
That's
front.
so good to hear, and it's so good to know that we make a difference for people.
It
So.
was.
It is. It was.
Yeah, I mean, it was Democrats, Republicans, Presbyterians, Methodists. We got from a lot of different folks. The country is still reeling after the tragic deaths, murders, I would say, of some 31 people in El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio. The staff of APR had a meeting in which that Monday we asked, was there a unifying message that we could give that addressed these horrific killings? What we soon find out, and Beth, you know this is true, and Susan, is that we couldn't agree on what it is we wanted to say. What we could agree upon is that we had different views on how to address the situation. The only thing we could absolutely agree upon, Beth, is that our state lawmakers, the leadership at least, would do nothing and basically say nothing.
Right. I mean, there's no denying that this is a tough issue. It's an emotionally charged issue, and it's a highly politicized issue. But the fact of the matter is that we have people literally dying in movie theaters and Walmarts and churches and elementary schools, for God's sakes. And we can't just sit here and say, that happens, which is what our lawmakers are doing right now.
Yeah.
We elected them to lead, and this is the type of thing they need to lead on.
Susan, it was like the silence of the lambs. I mean, really, all we heard were platitudes and thoughts and prayers. Platitudes, thoughts, and prayers. And as I wrote, the lambs can be silent, which meaning the leadership, because they were waiting around to see what President Trump was going to say, right?
Right.
The lambs can be quiet, but somebody's going to get slaughtered. Now, metaphorically, the politicians are the ones who should pay for this, but it's people's lives that pay for it. But again, as Jack says, cock of the walk today, feather duster tomorrow. Some of these politicians shouldn't be around after remaining silent. In my book, they should be the lamb chops. But
Well, I mean, we expect leadership from leaders. That's why we elect them. As far as I know, the top leadership in the state, from the governor's office to the president pro tem to the speaker of the House, have not said a peep about how do we fix this in our society. And that's what they're elected to do.
And while we want thoughts and prayers, those are good things. We want candlelight vigils. We want to memorialize and remember these people.
We want to do it far less than we are having to
That's
do
right.
it also.
What we need is leaders in this state who will stand up and say, this is how I believe we can fix it here in Alabama. But what we did have is the nonsense of one guy standing up and going, well, it's just a mental health issue. No. Then another guy went, I promise you, no one's coming for your guns. Well, guess what? No one's coming for their guns anyway.
No, they're not.
Right.
They're not.
Well, and I've always had, and Mike and I were talking this the other night about, we thought that maybe if this would happen, if this would hit closer to home for somebody in leadership that has the ability to do something. But don't forget, a gunman walked into a federal building and shot and traumatically injured Gabby Giffords, and nothing happened.
No.
And so if it happened to a member of Congress and they're still like, meh, that's what we're dealing with.
Do you know what the most popular selling item for back to school is this year?
Probably a bulletproof vest.
Bulletproof backpacks.
Jesus sake.
Our children literally are having to go to school with bulletproof backpacks.
That's disturbing.
And again,
The
we're
fact
going
that we live in a country that makes bulletproof backpacks, y'all, I can't.
Well, I mean, the Israelis have bulletproof backpacks because they have declared terrorists. But we can't declare mass shooters as terrorists, even though if it's a Muslim, it would be a terrorist if they walked into Walmart. We just can't say that about white people. They're mentally ill or all that.
Yeah,
There's a
they're
lot
terrorists.
more to this. A lot more to this. I don't want to get into it, but I just say shame on our politicians for not saying anything or either politicizing it. What a world we would live in if Kay Ivey stood up tomorrow and said, I am proposing legislation in the state of Alabama that we will have reasonable and aggressive background checks. You're not going to be able to buy an AR-15 like 10 of them at a time. We're going to limit that. And right now, as they're watching, people are firing off emails and missives.
Absolutely.
Going, they're taking our guns.
Our inboxes are all blowing up right
You
now.
don't, unless you're hunting feral hogs or you plan on slaughtering your neighbors, you don't need an AR-15.
Right. Well, and as we discussed in pre-show, we regulate Sudafed because of its role in making meth. We regulate fertilizer because it can be used in making bombs. Yet guns,
Well, the founding fathers wanted us to have
muskets.
musket. Hey, I tell you something really great.
I love
happened.
this story.
Really great. Evangelist Scott Dawson, he ran for governor, and he didn't win. But he and I had been talking, and this guy is doing some great stuff, and he's walking the walk, the Christian walk, the Christian talk. He doesn't just preach it; he lives it. And so, anyway, we're talking. He says, "Listen, World Vision, which is a worldwide charitable group," he said, "I went out and talked to them, and they are coming to Alabama. And tell them what they're doing, Susan."
They are going to be able to supply 4,000 school children with their needs list to go back to school.
Yeah.
From pencils and papers and toilet paper and all those things that they get sent home with that a lot of times the parents can't afford. This organization is coming to Alabama and supplying it for 4,000 kids.
And that's because this man went out there and talked to them. Instead of talking about Jesus, he acted like Jesus and did something about it. And he says he's not running for office, he just wants to help.
Right. No, this is great news. And I think it's important to remember that when the parents can't pay for these supplies, it falls back on the teachers. And our teachers don't get paid well enough as it is. And so it's not fair to ask that of them. I'm going to keep this a happy story and not point out that this charity usually does work in the third world and they're having to come to Alabama.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's part of it.
But we'll get there. We'll get to funding education one of these days.
Well, they are putting in a distribution center, so this should grow. But it's just great to see someone who's out here doing good things and not, we were just talking, and I said, man, this is a story.
And not for a self-serving purpose.
That's right. Well, we're going to have to leave it right there. You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. We'll be right back with a look at Ziggy's Army.
Oh, Lord.
What a great opportunity for your success. Adding 500,000 highly skilled employees to our workforce by 2025 is how we stay ahead in Alabama. Our economy is stronger than it's been in years, and a skilled workforce is more important than ever. Things move fast, so choose your path. Your success is waiting, plus a great future for Alabama. Success Plus. Go for it.
The Energy Institute of Alabama promotes reliable, affordable, and clean energy to help grow our economy. create high-paying jobs, and build public support for Alabama's energy industry. Access to clean, affordable energy continues to be an issue of vital importance in the halls of government and around the kitchen tables across our nation. The Energy Institute of Alabama is the best source of energy industry information and how it affects households across the state, from convenient energy production to alternative fuels to solar power and beyond.
What are you doing today, babe?
I thought I'd head down to the lake with the guys, do a little fishing. Of course, none of us will be wearing our seatbelts. I'll lose control of the truck, wrap it around a tree, and kill us all.
Okay.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Welcome back to the V, the voice of Alabama politics. Susan, at the end of last week, we got email. Many in the media got this email. It was, excuse me, from a group identifying itself as Ziggy Army.
Right?
And in this, they said...
Marley?
Yeah. They said that they represented a group of about 50,000 people who were opposed to the toll bridge over between Mobile and Baldwin County. They did not make any claims that they were part of the Facebook group that was the No Toll Bridge group, but they did state similar facts. Now, the unusual thing that they did is they attached pictures of a naked man fully exposed and a face pic of a guy they accused of being a state employee. What Ziggy Army said is that this state employee was using state time and resources to send pictures of himself and receive pictures from other gay men, and that they were exposing this in an effort to expose corruption so that they could force the state to pay for the I-10 bridge and not toll it. Now, this is what this Ziggy Army did. Now, because Jim Zeigler has been one of the loudest mouths against the bridge, that toll bridge, we emailed Mr. Zeigler and asked him, and I sent him everything and asked him, do you know about Ziggy's Army? Have you ever heard of Ziggy's Army? Did you know about what they were doing? Do you know anything about this situation? Do you know anything? And Susan, Jim Zeigler did not respond.
Jim Zeigler did not respond to a press inquiry?
No.
For the first time in recorded history.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a story
we
in
marked
itself.
it on the calendar because he loves press.
Yeah.
Everybody knows he loves the press. If he wasn't involved, then why didn't he make a big deal?
Well, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there.
This has gotten out of control. It's he's really taken this over the mark.
Well,
a lot of
and
things
what
done.
the thing is this is extortion, really.
It is.
It's a
Yeah, I was going to
extortion.
say that. I'm not a prosecutor, but there are a lot of criminal elements here.
Well,
that
and
get strung together
another part of the
pretty
criminal elements is we had the accused agency go back and look at their records and go through all their servers, and this was not on there.
Right.
This was not passed. So this, in the beginning,
But
was fraudulent before it was ever posted.
their stated goal, and they put the state employee's name and agency in the email that went out, and the goal was to force the state to pay for the toll bridge.
Well, obviously, yeah, we're not releasing that information.
No, we did
Certainly not.
We did not.
And so what it sounds to me is like this was somehow a legally obtained photograph. And I'm
They
sorry.
said they hacked the
No, I'm sorry.
People
If
went
it's
into
wrong,
the computers.
If it's wrong when they hack women's phones to get pictures out of our phones, how is it different? I mean, I'm usually not like the men's rights activist, of course, but how is this acceptable behavior? I mean,
What they did was they
gross.
said
This
that
is icky.
IT people from that agency gave them to Ziggy Army. Now,
Because they had captured them on the servers
toll,
as they
the
were passing
toll,
through.
the No Toll Bridge group on Facebook, they appear to have had nothing to do with it.
This
They
is a
haven't-
separate group.
They haven't posted
Turning my
anything.
Wi-Fi off real
They haven't
quick.
done
Hold
any,
on,
on it. And look, Zeigler lied before and said that the V had lampooned that no toll
Group,
toll
and we
group.
did not.
We did not. I sent him a copy of the federally mandated transcript of this show. It's closed caption. It's federally mandated to be 100% accurate. I sent that to him, and I said, Mr. Zeigler, point out where we lampooned or disparaged that group. He didn't respond.
Didn't respond to that either.
He didn't reply.
We have a tendency, sometimes we'll get a little out there on our opinions, but like, our facts are usually, we're not gonna report something unless it's.
And we're not going to take the group.
And we're not,
you know.
we're not infallible. We do make mistakes.
And
but
we
again,
correct him.
he lied. He wanted to get that group excited, so he lied, and then we got the most filthy, vile,
Violent
threatening
also.
letters from members of that no toll bridge group that I've ever received. And it's just a few people. But that group, I support what they're doing because that's direct democracy. What I don't support is lying trolls like Zeigler, who will lie to the group, lie to the public, lie to everybody for political gain. He is a disgrace. He is nothing but a big bag of wind.
And he needs some new ties while we're at it. Like, if we're just gonna go ahead and drag him, let's get him some ties
He's a
that work.
disgusting human being that has no place in state government. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion.
No.
This is an opinion show.
Okay, well, there was a great Republican food fight this week, and I wish we had more time to get into it. Tommy Tuberville, Beth, came out and said that he was mad at Donald Trump because Donald Trump had not done enough for the veterans of this state. Then Arnold Mooney, who's running for Senate, Arnold Mooney, who's running for Senate, that no one's ever heard of,
Right.
came out and said that he was dissing the president. So Tuberville walked it back and said that Trump had done more for veterans than anybody in the world, anybody ever. And he wasn't lying the first time. He was telling the truth the first time. He wasn't telling the truth the second time. He just had to kowtow, Beth.
Right. Well, and as my friend Zach points out, Tommy Tuberville has a history of switch hitting and when he's speaking to people.
Switch hitting? I don't think that means what you think it means.
In this context, we're going to
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I thought he was a baseball. No, he's not a baseball player.
No, he's a football coach.
Okay,
but
well,
also, I don't
switch
get
hitting
into his
is
personal endeavors. I'm just saying he has a tendency to say one thing and then come out in another audience and say something else.
The truth is, even the Washington Examiner has pointed out that the Trump administration has not done a great job with the veterans. Here in Alabama, Martha Roby has done more for the veterans than President Trump.
And Senator Shelby.
And Senator Shelby. The veterans here in Alabama still have lousy health care here in Montgomery, and they need better care. It's okay to criticize the president of the United States. He is not God or a cult leader.
Well, and generally, if you want something done, pushing from within your party is how to get it done. The Democrats can't encourage him to do anything. They'll do the opposite.
That's right. All right, well, we're going to have to leave it right there. When we come back, we're going to take a special look at the port of Mobile.
Hey man, what are you doing today?
Playing the game. Thought I'd go out for a drive later maybe. Text some friends while I'm doing it. Scroll through social media. Kill a family 4 and a head-on collision.
Cool, man.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
A lot can change in 5 years. Except those smile lines you treated with Bellafill. Because that's about how long Bellafill will keep them smooth and filled. 5 years. Now you can always look your best without all those injections, appointments, and costs. Bellafill is the only dermal filler that stimulates and maintains collagen growth long term. Now time is on your side.
Welcome back to the V, the voice of Alabama politics. Recently, the Alabama Political Reporter and the Voice of Alabama Politics have teamed up to do a series of special reports where we go in and we look at different parts of Alabama and we highlight some of the activities that are going on, the places that are of interest in the state. And the first one we did, we spent hours and hours and hours at the Port of Mobile. So we'd like to share with you our special report on the Port of Mobile. Welcome, I'm Bill Britt. The Port of Mobile is a crucial commerce center for the entire state of Alabama. Seafaring vessels from all over the globe come in and out of the port, bringing prosperity and growth to our state's economy. Over the last year, Senator Richard Shelby and Governor Kay Ivey have worked tirelessly to improve and expand the port, to bring more jobs, more commerce, better things, and a brighter future for all Alabamians. Governor Kay Ivey said, "The Port of Mobile plays a significant role in expanding Alabama's global footprint. Our port, being one of the largest in the nation, ensures that our Made in Alabama brand is recognized worldwide."
Activities with our shippers and the other activities generated by the port generated over about $490 million in tax revenue for the state. Our annual revenue varies a lot from year to year because we handle a lot of commodities, and commodity prices go up and down and markets go up and down, sometimes very dramatically. In a bad year, we do $110 to $120 million a year. In a good year, which in fact this year is a good year, our revenues can be upwards of $150 million or more.
The Business Council of Alabama President and CEO, Katie Boyd Britt, had this to say: "The Port of Mobile is an economic engine for the entire state of Alabama. With the tireless efforts of Senator Shelby and the passage of the Rebuild Alabama Act, Alabama has a rare opportunity to expand our only deep water port. As the fastest growing container port in North America, the deepening and widening of the Port of Mobile will continue to enhance Alabama's economic competitiveness on both a regional and global scale. Under the Rebuild Alabama Act, the state is investing in its future by deepening and widening the port to allow even larger cargo ships to dock in Alabama."
After modernization, the channel will be 50 feet, which will enable us to accommodate the large container ships with a almost full load on board. And that's where we get a lot of the big benefit here in Alabama. It also is going to help our coal shippers, and if they can go to larger ships and enter markets and perhaps be more competitive. Our automobile industry will benefit because the cost per container with the deeper ships will go down. We're building an automobile terminal so that we can serve Alabama's automobile industry and their needs for export. Poultry will be increasing through our port. We'll be able to more competitively serve the poultry industry with the bigger ships.
As Senator Richard Shelby said, Alabama has a rare opportunity to deepen and widen the Port of Mobile, which could revolutionize the state's economy for generations to come. This project has the ability to transform not only the Gulf Coast region, but the entire state. Senator Shelby, as chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, promises he will continue to support federal investment in the Port of Mobile and will work to see the project through to completion.
The channel deepening and widening is basically the estimate we're working on today is about $400 million. There's some contingency in that. And the base project is a 75-25 match. $250 million will be federal money for the construction. $150 will be the state's match, including that one-time advanced maintenance. But the maintenance of the channel, we get federal dollars every year for maintaining the channel, and that runs about $25 million a year. So the federal government, going forward, will be paying $25 million a year to keep this channel open.
Airbus, Hyundai, Mercedes, Austal, Yellowwood are a few big names that rely on the Port of Mobile, but also farmers, factory workers, and every citizen in the state benefits from the port.
We generate 135,000 jobs. That's not just the jobs here in Mobile, because that's really a small percentage. The other jobs are the jobs generated by the companies that can participate in the global marketplace by having a competitive seaport within cost-effective reach.
From soybean growers to coal suppliers, companies around the state count on the Port of Mobile to move Alabama products around the globe. As Governor Ivey says, investing in our port means Alabama will continue breaking export records and achieve greater economic success from Huntsville to the Gulf. As Governor Ivey and Senator Shelby have said, the Port of Mobile lies at the very heart of the commercial future of Alabama. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Port of Mobile. For the Alabama Political Reporter and the voice of Alabama politics, I'm Bill Britt, and thank you for watching. Well, Susan, you were there. Mm-hmm. You were part of that report.
I was in the front seat, man.
Yeah.
I was in the front seat. I mean, I wish everybody could actually go down and see this port. You know, I expected a lot there, but boy, was I overwhelmed with everything, all the activity that goes on, all the products and things that go through that port and come in and out. And that's before the dredging starts.
Right. I mean, Beth, it's a huge asset for Alabama, and it brings in hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenue.
Hundreds of millions or billions even, I would guess. I mean, this is critical for businesses in the state that we have a way that commerce can move both into and out of Alabama. I mean, our peanut industry, our cotton industry, I mean, we have so many great things here.
Soybeans, coal,
right, that we ship out.
Well, and now we're going to be able to we're going to be able to ship cars, whole cars out.
Yeah, our auto
industry.
And
I mean, they've got a whole pad laid out already for the cars coming in instead of coming through Savannah.
Poultry industry by a lot. We have to give credit where credit is due. Senator Richard Shelby and Governor Kay Ivey have fought diligently to make this happen. They really have. All right, you've been watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. You watch us because we watch them.